What's going on, everyone? My name is Pimpkin and I appreciate you for coming to this video. This is a continuation of the series on how to choose a car in Rocket League. There's a lot that goes into choosing a car, so I'm just going to be running some tests on all the car hitboxes and see how they perform. So let's get right into it and see what car is best for me in Rocket League. Alright, so these experiments or tests that I'm going to be running on each car are going to be going through each of the car hitboxes that we have in Rocket League. So we have the Breakout, the Dominus, the Plank, the Hybrid, the Merc, and the Octane hitboxes. So today we're going to be talking about the Dominus, and the tests that I want to do are just some general measures of performance. I'm going to be testing power shots, power clears, dribbling, flicks, aerial shots, and then just some general gameplay against other players. So let's get right into the tests. So for the first test in power shots and power clears, I use the strength and accuracy playlist from the custom training list, and I started out just by hitting the ball straight forward with a forward flip and hitting it square off the middle of the nose. And I think that felt decent on the Dominus. I think it felt strong still, and because you do have a long hitbox, flipping into it strong like that feels pretty good still on the front end. But as I was taking these shots, I had some that just felt okay, and I started to shift my car to the side and really take them off the corner. And that I just started to fall in love with. I started taking all of my shots off the corner, and I think the power comes not just from like the corner of the car will hit the ball harder, and that's something that many people know, but I think there's a really clear visual marker of where your hitbox ends with the Dominus, and I think that really makes all of these shots that are even, I added in some more difficult shots that were coming from further angles and coming from farther away, and hitting the ball off the corner was the cleanest part of all of my contact. I think that the way that the front nose fills up all the way to the edges of the hitbox, and that visual hitbox is the same as the true hitbox, really makes the power shots and power clears really strong. So I really enjoyed this test with the Dominus, and I thought it was a really good aspect of the game. And then getting into the full field power clears, I thought that was really clean and easy as well. So the next test that I'm going into is dribbling, and I'm going to be testing two different ways of dribbling. The first one is cut-in dribbling, and then the second one being chip-up dribbling. So for cut-in dribbling, I'm just poking the ball forward and then seeing if I can just scoop the ball up off the ground by cutting into it while matching its speed. And this felt pretty good with the Dominus, and I felt pretty strong because I had kind of a good mix, I would say, as far as the height of the hitbox overall. I think the Dominus is low enough that it's easy to scoop the ball up and pick it up off the ground, but it's tall enough that you can still make some of those corners where it helps to have a tall edge on one side and you can turn and make adjustments. And so that felt pretty good overall. And another thing that I liked was the Dominus is relatively wide, so I have some room on either side, either the left or the right side of my car, to make adjustments. Even if I'm not right on center, I can hold it off to the side a little bit because I do have some of that width. And chipping the ball up felt good as well. I think this first catch off the top of the car is pretty easy. And again, just I have that extra width to work with if I don't catch it perfectly. The one thing that was a little bit strange for the Dominus overall is there's a bit of a visual difference on the front where you'll need to hold the ball a lot of the time. There's a little bit of a gap, but overall dribbling was really good and I enjoyed it. So the next test, I just got into this dribble training here so that I can focus purely on flicks. So not worrying about picking the ball up, I get the ball basically delivered right to me and then just focusing only on flicking the ball. And with the Dominus, I was able to get strong flicks and I was able to put the ball in the back of the net, but honestly, it felt kind of awkward for me, and I think that's mainly because of the front end of this car and just where I have to carry the ball. It's right on that piece that I have like an invisible part of my hitbox is where I need to carry the ball in order to get the flick, and specifically on this car that was bothering me, and it's just a visual thing to get used to, and I know that many people can get used to it, but even then when I felt awkward, I was able to get flicks, and some of the ones that I thought I was messing up the flick, I'm still putting it hard in the back of the net. So I think that the Dominus has really strong flicks, and that can be a really strong part of its game. It's just something to get used to, I think, visually to really maximize its potential. Finally, getting into this basic aerials training pack here, and just getting some simple aerials, hitting the ball down by adding some air roll and getting strong contact off the nose or the front corners of the car or maybe the hood. And I think that the Dominus is really strong in this aspect. I think it has a very clear visual to it, understanding where your car is and how you need to move your car to make solid contact with the ball is still really easy, and you can still take advantage of the really good power that you get off of the corners of the car because you have really good reference of where those are. And so I think the advantages that you have on the ground really translate to the air as well, and you can get some really strong hits. So I felt confident going up in the air with the Dominus, and I still felt like I was getting all the same power that I was getting on the ground. And I think that's really all you can ask it to do while it's in the air, and I think it felt great. So I think this is a really strong aspect of the Dominus overall, is its aerial car control. So as I got the Dominus into games, I felt really strong in most situations. I don't think there were any real situations that I wish my car was in a different hitbox, or I wish my car was taller or wider or anything like that. I don't feel like I was really disadvantaged in any situation, which is a really good place to be in my opinion. And I think that the Dominus overall is a really strong car. I think it has some things it does really well with the strong contact off the corners, the front of the car, both on the ground and in the air. And I think that it has strong flicks overall, but I don't think there's any really glaring downsides with it. I think that it's a very viable option. And what was interesting is I got some clips from other members of Passionate Men who use the Dominus regularly, and they were just really naturally taking shots off the corner of their car. And I think it's just the visual hitbox is just really well shaped for the true hitbox of the car. So I think the Dominus is really great. So let me know in the comments down below if you love the Dominus or if you hate the Dominus. Just let me know what your thoughts are. And I really appreciate all of you for watching, and always remember to stay passionate.